Joined by Monique James. She is a marketing consultant here in the Augusta area, and we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming TikTok ban and how that may or impact businesses. We want to talk to her. She does a lot of TikTok videos for her businesses, and she also advises businesses who uses TikTok regularly. So, Monique, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
I'm glad you're able to come. So the TikTok ban is scheduled to go into effect tomorrow. According to TikTok, if something is not if there's not new ownership in place, then the app will go dark tomorrow. So Monique, tell me a little bit about what impact will that have on your businesses and other businesses who regularly use TikTok?
Well, yeah, I think for businesses that have used it and are monetized directly on the app, the app going away takes away a revenue stream, an income stream for their business. And so if they hadn't already thought about how they would move that audience to a different platform or bring those people who follow them someplace else that they can monetize, then I think it's going to be tough in the transition, because you're right, it's less than 24 hours from the time we're recording this that the app is going to go dark. So if business owners have been making money directly from the app, whether they have been monetized within TikTok and getting paid from the app for their content, using TikTok Shop, or selling their products and selling to people, users on TikTok, the transition is going to be rough, because I think TikTok made such a splash because, first of all, there are features available in TikTok that are not available in any other apps that are significant. You know, the apps that have millions of users, a lot of those features just aren't available in other places. Also, the audience on TikTok is different. People behave differently, on TikTok than they do on other platforms. And so there is more community engagement. People there are more inclined to communicate and talk to each other and share information and ask questions. All of those things that a business owner who might be looking to refine their strategy, and that's my focus, marketing strategy, or test new products, or just get feedback, kind of create their own unofficial focus group. TikTok was perfect for that. So I think for businesses who were indirectly monetized or weren't even actually using it for monetization, but they were using it to engage with potential customers, they're asking people questions and getting responses, and they're using that insight to create new products or to take a different approach with products, or they're using the app to test out content to see if it performs there before they publish it on perhaps a platform where the stakes might be higher. I think for them, the transition is going to be a little bit easier. You can, right now that the app is still live, people can download their data. You can download your posts. You can download videos that you've saved and comments and messages and all of that. There's still time to do that and start to figure out where they will go next. Like I said, for the people that were directly monetized, that's going to be a challenge, because there is not another compatible app that you can be assured that the bulk of the people will go to. I'm hearing a lot of things. People are going to a lot of different places. And so until there is a large group of users, what people are calling the TikTok refugees, until those people kind of decide where they're going to land and build and engage there, it is going to be challenging for for business owners who have been directly monetized there.
I got you. Now, when you say monetizing, you mean like making money off of views, or just money that comes in from people that are referred to their business, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Like I said, I think the fact that the TikTok user was different than other social platforms. I think a lot of people ended up on TikTok because they kind of got sick of the way that the algorithms function on a lot of other platforms. And so until a new app or perhaps an existing app redesigns their algorithm or, kind of changes the way they do things, until that happens, those people are going to be searching for where to go and where to get recommendations about the latest recipe to try for dinner, or the newest purse to buy, or the newest whatever, the newest microphone or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where those types of conversations are going to end up.
Exactly, it is. So let me say this: do you have a recommendation as far as a plan B? If the app goes dark tomorrow, then do you have a recommendation about how business owners can adjust?
Yeah, I think the first step is to go back to your strategy, and that's my wheelhouse. I believe a robust or a holistic marketing strategy includes social media, but it doesn't only include social media. You have to also include email or your blog or other channels, because that's just diversification, and diversification is a great thing.
Absolutely.
So I definitely think going back, revisiting the strategy and figuring out, okay, is there an existing platform that I already have a presence on that I can shift my focus to and start to pour in or invest in the audience building there like they did on TikTok. And once you decide what that is, use these last few hours that we have to tell the existing audience where to find you next, whether that is an existing platform, like I said, that you already have. A lot of people, pulled back from like the Facebook and the Instagram and chose to go all in on TikTok. Well, now some of those users will probably end up back on Facebook and Instagram. So there's an opportunity there to re-engage and build from that place. I'm hearing Fanbase is an app that I recently set up an account on, and they have a migration feature that it pulled in all of my TikTok content onto my brand new Fanbase account. So I have content already there. All of my content from TikTok is already there. So now it's just a matter of starting to engage and build and notifying my audience, this is where you can find me now that TikTok is gone. So I think the remedy is very specific based on the individual business, but I do not think the automatic response should be go jump into a brand new app before we know what these brand new apps can do. There is an app in particular that I'm not going to mention, but a lot of TikTok people have migrated over there, and it's still yet to be determined. The terms of service are very unclear. And so I'm not a fan of making long-term decisions from short-term emotions. And I can understand the fear that a lot of people are experiencing right now. And so when that's really loud in your ears, it's really hard to, make clear-headed decisions. So I always err on the side of caution. I encourage my clients, my audience, to err on the side of caution. Stick with what you know for right now. You can probably claim your name on some of those other channels just to park it. For me specifically, I started to see requests for people who follow me on TikTok to follow me on another app that I'm not on yet. I don't have a profile there yet, but because the apps are connected, I'm seeing users request to follow me on this other app. So now I'm thinking, well, if nothing else, I will go and claim my name there just so nobody else can claim it. Just so, just kind of park it there, just to kind of protect my intellectual property and protect the brand a little bit better. So there's a lot of questions, and the answers aren't as easy to get to in a time like this.
I mean, it's definitely not easy. And you're right. You have a lot of people panicking, a lot of businesses panicking. I heard the stat, there's 170 million users on TikTok,
Yes.
which is half the population, about roughly half the population of the United States. So to just talk about the enormous popularity of that app, and we've never seen just something just that popular just go away.
Yeah.
Business owners, have a right to be, worried and concerned, especially if that's an income and source of your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me switch. Let me say this real quick. Do you anticipate Trump's going to be able to save this thing? I know he said he needs more time with it.
I mean,
what do you think going forward on that? I know that the Supreme Court just kept the ban in place.
And so I read that the Supreme Court decided to uphold the ban. I still want to read what the decision was, like what was the basis of the decision, because if the basis was going back to the original reason for the ban in the first place, making information available to a country that is an enemy of this country, I think there might still be hope, but like I'm a realist. I am neither optimist nor pessimist. I am very much a pragmatist. So it's like, okay, it could go either way. And we won't know until we know. So for right now, like what's in front of us? What's in front of us right now is it's been decided that the ban was upheld, and so the app has decided we're taking it dark. I'm assuming at midnight or 12:01, on Sunday morning. And so how can we prepare from how can we make an informed decision using the information that we have right now?
Right.
I just shared an article on one of my social platforms about Perplexity, which is an AI chatbot tool that I use a lot. They just made a bid to partner with TikTok, to partner with the company or something like that, so that the app could stay in existence. The ban doesn't have to go through. So I think there's going to be a lot of those like mad dashes and scrambles, and there's going to be breaking news. It's going to be really exhausting for people who are trying to follow it minute by minute. And I'm of the belief that energy could be better spent, especially if you're a business owner. That energy could be better spent figuring out where you're going to lead your people to next. Because that's at the core of what we're talking about. It's leadership. Every business owner in a time like this has to be able to step into the role of the leader and making a decision and telling your audience, this is where we'll be. And yes, there probably will be a loss of people. Audiences will decrease. However, you can rebuild. You build.
Absolutely.
You build on TikTok, so you can rebuild anywhere.
Absolutely.
I think,
Absolutely. I'm a video content creator. And I have been hesitant to go to TikTok simply because of the privacy concerns. And I've been criticized for it. I've had people get on to me, they're like, why aren't you on TikTok? What would be your message to somebody that's like me that's concerned with some of the privacy issues that are allegedly happening with the app?
I mean, I would say those concerns are valid. I don't think those concerns come from anywhere. That's reality with that app and any app. I would say for a business owner who has been hesitant to do it because of that, but they recognize the opportunity, then it takes some, let me arm myself, empower myself with some information so I can make the best decision for me and decide what my boundaries are. So, for example, I never signed up for TikTok Shop because I didn't they requested way too much information. I was like, nope, I'm not giving you that, so I won't do it. But I recognized that I could build there in my way.
Yeah.
And sure, that could have, choosing to go forward with it could have generated income for my business, but I wasn't willing to earn that money at the expense of what I consider are deal breakers for me and for my business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what it is. We make decisions every day as business owners that are aligned with our values and what matters to us. And I don't discount like a gut feeling. Gut feelings weigh a lot for me. I, as a business owner, and this is how I operate, and this is how I encourage, people who work with me and listen to me to operate too. Like, trust your gut, and then follow up the gut with trust but verify. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Trust your gut and verify, and then make the decision. That feels right for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome advice. The old Reagan stance: trust but verify. So switching gears a little bit, you do a lot with advising companies with AI.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about your work there, and what you're advising businesses as far as integrating AI.
So the success with integrating AI into your marketing begins with that solid foundation and that strategy. And so my focus with regard to strategy is brand, character, and identity. So figuring out the edge. What's the edge? How is one brand different from a competitor? What makes it unique? What makes it special? What is in the founder's story, background, expertise that just give the brand its own lane to stand in, like clarifying that and figuring that out, and then pairing that with the customer discovery, because we're all trying to sell stuff to people. So we have to know who those people are.
Exactly.
And really getting into the lives of those people, understanding what's happening in their lives outside of their engagement with your social content or your emails or watching your videos. What's happening in their lives, so that, especially if you're using platforms like social media, like we're talking about today, you always have something to say to them that would invite them into a conversation that's not always, here's my thing, buy it. But I like to describe it this way. When you get on the phone with your best friend, you can talk about everything and nothing. And you'll still leave the conversation like, man, I love that. That guy is great. This is a great conversation. You can do that because you know them well and they know you well. And so the challenge with the customer discovery is getting to know those people well. So when you're thinking about marketing this month and next month and the month after that and the month after that and next year and the year after that, you always have something to say that they would want to be involved in, they would want to participate in. So that's why the customer discovery is so important. And then also figuring out who your brand isn't for, because you're not for everybody. So just clarifying that really helps a brand's marketing hit a little bit better. And then the last piece is the content, identifying the channels, figuring out what the customer's journey is, so your content meets them on the channels where they're spending time and in the way, like in the format. Do they like to read? Do they like to listen? Do they watch videos? Would they watch a 45-minute video? Or do you need to distill that thing down to 30 seconds because their attention span is like this, the size of a goldfish? So understanding all of that, that's strategy. That's the foundation. And so when you think about what AI can do to help you clarify the brand tighter, I'm an Army veteran, so I like to use military analogies, like tighten the shot group even better. Just refining it is like taking the power of the creativity and the insight, the instinct of that human, that leader for that business, that marketing team for that business, and pour the technology of AI onto those three elements of the strategy. It's a game changer. You can identify the brand better. You can clarify the customer personas better and consistently.
Yeah.
And you can create that content, again, all the time, on the channel, in the way. And you can do those faster. I'm the kind of person, I get ideas a lot. Always. I'm running a list of ideas in my notes app. Using AI allows me, and the way I teach my clients to do, you could go from idea to execution in minutes, in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
As opposed to a week.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're absolutely right about that. Speeds up the work process.
It just lets you get things done. I always tell business owners who are hesitant or who are like, well, it just feels like too much, or I'm afraid, or whatever. The technology isn't here to replace them. Yes. The human beings in that business have value. The AI cannot shine as brightly as we want it to shine without the human beings, their insight, their experience, their context. They have to be involved. And so you think about if the AI is the hammer that's going to allow you to build the house, it's the vehicle that you are going to drive to get to the destination. You work together. That's what's so important. And so that's my approach. That's how I teach and train and consult. And that's how I do it in my own business. And that's where it started. I first started playing with ChatGPT in November 2022 when it first came out.
Yeah.
And over the years, I learned it, built my own internal systems. When those started working, I started talking to business owners about what I was doing. And from their questions, realized, more people want to learn this. So let me start teaching and talking about it. And till now, let me start building tools for people or coaching business owners and their marketing teams how to use it, coaching you on how to turn off certain features or activate certain features so your intellectual property is protected. So the tool isn't using your information to train and make that available for other users. So it is a delicate dance, but it does involve the humans and the technology.
Right. And that's a lot of the fear that people have, is that it's going to replace people's jobs.
Yeah.
And I can understand that concern. But you as a business, it's not going away. So you either have to learn to adapt to it, or you're going to be behind with it. And
it's definitely here to stay.
Yeah. It's not going anywhere. So, that's important that you're educating your clients on how to correctly and properly adapt it into their business. So, Monique, I appreciate you joining me today. Thank you so much. And just to go back to what we were telling, just to kind of summarize what we were saying about TikTok, is just the importance of telling your followers on TikTok on what other platforms they can follow you at, correct?
Yeah. And download your data. Download your content now.
Absolutely.
Even if you don't know what the new app is, tell your people where they can follow you. Get them to, and if you want to be really strategic, invite them to get on your email list instead of just following you on another social media platform.
Absolutely.
But tell them where they can go within these last few hours and download the data. And then you have time to figure out everything else.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an honor and a privilege to have you on my show today. And real quickly, tell folks how they can find you. How can they reach out and follow you?
So I am Monique James, Moniek James, everywhere, MoniqueJames.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I guess I have to stop saying TikTok.
I was going to say, right?
YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm everywhere online under my first and last name.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, and we will definitely be reaching out to you in the future to talk more in depth about AI.
Oh, we could talk for days then, but we won't right now. Yes, I would love to.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, thank you so much. You take care, be safe, and God bless, and we'll see you on next time.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Introducing the Zen Body line of products now available for purchase on our website. Zen Bean Infrared Brew is a one-of-a-kind nootropic coffee, expertly infrared roasted for a smooth, rich flavor. This premium blend goes beyond regular coffee by incorporating ingredients that naturally boost mood, energy, and focus. Also available in pods. Get your day started with Slim Brew Superfood Coffee, packed with powerful antioxidants and metabolism-boosting ingredients to support weight management, and it tastes like chocolate. Try their protein shake packed with 20 grams of protein, available in 4 delicious flavors. Become a subscriber for up to 20% off our online price. Simply go to our website to order.
How would you like to win some tickets to the Atlanta Braves home game throughout the 2025 season? If the answer to that question is yes, go to our website, RoundTableTV.net, and scroll down the homepage, and you will see a trivia contest. Answer all 5 questions correctly, and you will be entered into a drawing to win Braves tickets. We'll be doing this throughout the 2025 season. So you can also purchase tickets on our website as well for select Atlanta Braves home games. So look forward to giving away tickets this year, and go Braves.
Hi everyone, this is Ben with RoundTable Media. Here at RoundTable Media, we are dedicated to producing a variety of content. Whether it's news and information or education and entertainment, you're sure to find it here at RoundTable Media. If you're a fan of history, this is definitely the place you want to be. Visit historic locations with our History Across America series. We talk to people making a difference, and we visit some really cool locations in the process. Consider becoming a paid subscriber for as little as $8 a month or $129 a year. By becoming a paid subscriber, you have access to exclusive content, extended interviews, and up to 20% off prices on our online store. And your subscription allows us to continue to produce quality content for your screen. Watch us on your Roku device, Amazon Fire TV, or by downloading our app, available in the Apple App Store or Google Play. We also offer our viewers a travel booking engine similar to Expedia or Travelocity, where you can get up to 30% off your next hotel or resort. The link is in the description. Have a great day, be safe, and thank you so much for your support.
It was lived in by 2 prominent families in the 19th century. First the Woodruffs, than the Fontaine family, hence the title, Woodruff Fontaine House. The Woodruffs were here. They had the home built in 1871. They moved in 1871. They were only here till 1883. In 1883, the Fontaine family moved in, and the Fontaine family was here. Their time here in the mansion spanned close to 46 years. The death of the matriarch, Mrs. Virginia Fontaine, in 1928, that actually put an end to the home being a private residence.
What would you describe the architect? Is it Victorian?
Now, technically, it's kind of lumped into the French Victorian category. However, it is Second Empire. Second Empire is a style that started popping up in France under the reign of Napoleon III. And when you look at the outside of our mansion, you'll see the beautiful sloped, what they call the mansard roof. And some of the architectural detailing was very popular for the Second Empire. So technically this is a Second Empire, and we'll just call it French Victorian because that's really what it is. And I love architecture, and that's another thing. I love it when guests come in with their knowledge of architectural styles too, because I've learned some things from guests.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
How big is the home?
Well, it's 6 levels when you count the basement all the way up to the uppermost level. We have 2 smaller levels that aren't for living purposes. We call it the tower. So you're 6 levels deep and you're over 11,000 square feet.
Wow.
The tower, 2 upper levels on the tower, 3 fully furnished floors of living space, and then our basement. So that's 6 levels.
Wow. So what can people expect when they come here for a tour?
They can expect to see some very lovely, beautiful antiquities. The majority of the antiques, they are period. They did not belong to family members. Some pieces here did belong to families that were donated back by their descendants. When we first opened in 1964, we were empty. We were open for architectural tours, and we started receiving donations. But they can expect to see some beautiful antiquities. We like to have stories with our pieces. They can see some lovely antique textiles. Depending on the season, they can see anything from a lovely summer frock to an exquisite ball gown from the 19th century. They can hear stories about our families, their prominence here in the city, and how they helped develop Memphis in the early days. It's an experience you just want to be here for. We host museum fundraising events. We have some really fun events through the year. We have twilight tours that we do at least once a month, where we do behind the scenes evening tours. And I love to bring guests through here so they can see how beautiful it looks in the evening. Twilight tours are very popular. Like I said, we do those like at least once a month. When we get closer to our really popular seasons of like September, October, November, I'll try to get more than one on the books because they are very popular and they will sell out. And it's lovely. You come through here and you see the low lights and the beautiful candles, fake candles, of course. So that's always fun to have people come in the evening. It's just, it takes it's a totally different look at the home, a totally different way the home looks. Okay, so over here, this is Amos and Phoebe Woodruff. These are watercolors of them when they were a bit younger. This is Amos and Phoebe, a bit older, and their 4 children. From the left over here, that is Sally. She was the eldest child. Over here is Molly, the second oldest, and then Corabelle and Frank, the 2 youngest. Frank was the youngest of all the children. And they also had a son that died in infancy. They are originally from Rahway, New Jersey. Mr. Woodruff was a very successful businessman in Rahway, New Jersey. He owned a very successful carriage making business at that time, and many other businesses. He wanted to expand his company. So he came down from Rahway, New Jersey to Memphis in the mid-1840s because he wanted to see what opportunities were here to be had. We've been a city since 1819, but Memphis really started making waves across the nation when it was discovered how our neighboring states, Mississippi and Arkansas, how rich that delta soil was for things like cotton crops. and many opportunities to happen in Memphis, a newly formed port city. So here he comes from New Jersey, and he decides apparently straight away that he likes it. He wants to not just expand his business, but he wanted to become a community member. He wanted to make Memphis their permanent home, his family's permanent home. At that time, it was he and Phoebe, his wife, who, by the way, was never too crazy about moving down here to Memphis, which I can't really say that I blame her. She was a well-to-do, already established social maven right outside of New York City. So you can imagine it was kind of bleak, the thought of her coming down here to this, well, we can't say it any other way. It was a backwater, frontier, really nasty river town. It was 19th century America. But you know, Phoebe being a female, she didn't have any rights. Females had little to no rights in the 19th century. If you were married, you did what your husband said, so she had to come down here with Amos, and they started their family. Sally was born in New Jersey, and then they expanded their family, and when they first came here, they were living downtown because everything was going on just a few blocks east of the river. But in 1870, he purchased this 2-acre plot of land. Other gentlemen had started buying up parcels of land out here in what was then the outskirts of Memphis so they could get away from the city goings on, kind of that filth and what have you, and have some land, a little bit of land out here, and have a prestigious home built. And Amos wanted Phoebe to feel like the queen of her own castle. She would go back to New Jersey homesick, and he was wanting that to kind of like, come on, Phoebe, let's stay put. So the story goes, this is a story that's always been passed down to us, that the mansion was built to appease Phoebe. And that's not a bad thing. She needed to be appeased. She sacrificed a lot to come down here. So they broke ground in 1870 and moved in 1871 in late autumn. They were only here about 12 years though. A lot of work for only being here about 12 and a half years. Okay, so in 1883, after the Woodruffs were only here about 12 and a half years, sadly, there were circumstances that they could not control that made them sell the mansion. One of those being Memphis during the yellow fever epidemics of the 1870s. They were horrific. 1873, the Woodruffs had only been here a couple of years. 1873, a bout of fever came through, yellow fever. It was really bad. It was horrific. But only around 2,000 souls died. I say only 2,000 because 5 years later, in 1878, it was literally hell on earth here. Fever came rolling through in early August, and it did not let up until the first hard frost at the end of October. And take in mind that at that time in American history, they still did not know yet what was causing the fever. We know now, of course, and we're very well protected in our part of the world, it's mosquito-borne, it's mosquito transmitted. At that time, they had a feeling it had to do with some summer, some water, some swamps, etc. But it was every man for himself. We have to do what we can do. But there was no, at that time, there weren't like really strict sanitary protocol in cities, etc. That would come after. But anyway, so Mr. Woodruff, like many businessmen here at that time after 1878, Memphis was left like a ghost town. We were just under 50,000 in early 1878. Memphis was to be the New York City of the South. We were growing so fast. We were just leaps and bounds. We were producing more millionaires at that time in the country than any other place in the United States, and we were bound for glory. However, once that fever set upon us in 1878, it was, like I said, hell on earth. After the hard frost in October, when the dust settled, as they say, and the air cleared, we were down to possibly around 7,000 to 9,000 people. There was a mass exodus in the early days of the fever. If you weren't dying from it, you were running from it. That's how it was. And most of those people that ran from it just would not come back. And Memphis was left a ghost town. Many businesses closed down. Mr. Woodruff, of course, like many other businessmen, really their personal fortunes took a huge hit. That combined with some national gold panics that went through. The price of gold bottomed out, and those were heavily invested. They lost a ton of what they had worked so hard to acquire. Mr. Woodruff being one of those. They had to make the hard decision to sell the mansion. in the early 1880s. So in comes this beautiful couple right here. This is Nolan and Virginia Fontaine. Nolan Fontaine was born in Terre Haute, Indiana, but he was raised in Louisville. His family, the Fontaine family, they go back generations in Louisville, Kentucky. He came to Memphis in 1861 at the age of 21. And like many other men at that time, he was coming to establish some type of career, some type of business opportunities. First, though, he fell in love with Virginia Eanes. She was a local young lady, and they got married in 1864. Now, in 1883, he was the founder of one of the most successful cotton factory and wholesale grocery businesses in the United States. It was actually the largest and most successful in the United States and third in the world. He and his partner named Napoleon Hill. He was doing quite well because he came to Kentucky, a little inexperienced. He had some money, but it was family money. But he was 21 years of age. The 19th century, a 21-year-old man, and you're an adult, son. A little bit inexperienced, but he was educated and he was very shrewd. So when he partnered with Napoleon Hill, it was nothing but good times, you know, building businesses. And cotton was king here in Memphis. That's what we used to be called, King Cotton. So he got in on the right market. Mr. Woodruff had dabbled in it, but everything of his took a beating after the yellow fever and the gold panics I spoke of. So he and Virginia get married in 1864. In early 1883, he is really just getting to the top of his game, and his family is growing, and he knows that Mr. Woodruff is needing to sell the home on Adams Avenue. So he goes to Mr. Woodruff because they were business associates. They did know one another. How close they were as far as friends, we don't know, but they did know one another. But Mr. Fontaine also knew there was pride at stake. He couldn't just go up to Mr. Woodruff and say, Amos, I hear you broke. Give me your house. It was nothing like that. There was pride at stake. They struck a gentleman's agreement. They actually traded homes, and the Fontaines gave the Woodruffs $40,000. The Woodruffs were not destitute, but they had really fallen. Their fortune had really fallen. So I imagine that $40,000 and a simple home swap was a blessing to them. So Phoebe Woodruff could go and move into a very well-established, fashionable town home that had been established by the Fontaines. So she did not have to go even back to New Jersey or go and find some lower class housing. That would have been such a disgrace for Madam Phoebe. I would hate to think that would happen. So it was, we'll say, a win-win. But we don't know. We don't know. There was probably some heartache involved, a little bit of business maneuvering that maybe seems a little not quite ethical maybe to us today. We don't know. But they moved in 1883, 6 children. They would have 3 more that were born here in the mansion. They lost a child at 11 months old, but they still raised 8 children here, 4 girls and 4 boys. Very well-loved family. They were the glamour couple here when they moved into onto Adams Avenue, Millionaires Row as it became known as. Because we look at them, they were young, they were beautiful, they're about 20 years younger than the Woodruffs. And they were, I made this reference before, the Brangelina of the day, but you know, Brangelina, they're divorced, but you get the reference, yeah? So they had well-known parties. Whenever some dignitaries, presidents, governors, President Grover Cleveland came to this mansion more than once. Mr. Fontaine was always at the forefront. He and Napoleon Hill and a few other distinguished gentlemen in town would be at the forefront of greeting the dignitaries. And they came from all over the world. And this was the couple that they wanted to meet. So, Mr. Fontaine has been a very successful businessman for many years in the city of Memphis. He passed away at the age of 72 in September of 1912. Lovely Virginia lived about 16 years longer, and she died peacefully upstairs in her bedroom in 1928, surrounded by children and grandchildren.
Wow.
We strive to continue the legacy of both families today. We hope that we do them proud. We're very respectful. We expect that of our guests. We have very few rules when you come here. The usual, don't touch our antiques, etc. Don't taunt anybody. Don't look at a photo and just be respectful, be kind. Our lovely proper parlor, also known as the ballroom. The mansion is large, but it is not large enough to have a separate ballroom. Now, the families being prominent families with full social calendars, socializing would have been a norm. And this room was very important when they were entertaining. And the servants would come and move all the furniture out, leaving this lovely large room for guests to mingle and dance, etc. So this was, let's say, the party room of the home. And that's why we refer to it as the ballroom, and technically it's the proper parlor. Every Victorian home, no matter the economic status of the home, they would have had a proper parlor. That's something you would strive for in your home. So what we have on now on our mannequins, we are very fortunate here at the Woodruff Fontaine that we have had so many generous benefactors, and they've not only donated furnishings, china, crystal, etc., but also beautiful, beautiful vintage clothing. These are from turn of the century going into the early 1910s and teens. If you want to say all the fun was held here on the first floor with the parties and the soirees, well, the second floor, that's where all the family secrets played out. That's where the families lived the majority of their lives. Up here on the second and third floors, private family time. Back in the 19th century and in portions of the 20th century, of course, outside entertainment had become available, but on average, a family just didn't go to the cinema or the plays or the opera houses as often as you would think. They did start going more and more as it became available, but the majority of their personal time was spent here in their homes. Their homes were their world, and their world was inside their homes. Now the Fontaines, they did a lot of outside socializing. Memphis had some very fine opera houses at one time. We were in the cutting edge of having the early cinemas where those new films were being shown, and there were all kinds of outside entertainment venues that started becoming available. However, we as a modern society, we do a lot of socializing outside of our home. We do the majority of things outside of our home, I think it's safe to say. I know there are millions and millions of homebodies around the world, but we also as a people like to be out in the world. At that time, their home was their world. So they spent a huge part of time upstairs. This was the master bedroom of the home. We do have some of the Fontaine's belongings here. That was Mrs. Fontaine's beautiful mahogany writing desk. That was a mirror that belonged to the Fontaines. It's up there on the mantle now. When the Woodruffs moved in, their daughter Molly, who was 19 at the time, got married downstairs. And when she came back from a 2-month honeymoon in New Orleans, she and her new husband settled here. This was their bedroom. On the other side of the bed is a door that connects to the second room, and that was their parlor. Okay. So that's the way it would work in those days. Again, you didn't really hang out so much on the first floor if you weren't entertaining. So you spent your family time up here. So bedroom, connected parlor. Like across the hall, there's a connected parlor from the family, the master bedroom. We're open Wednesday through Sunday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m.
And people can go online to purchase tickets?
They absolutely can go online to purchase tickets. They can come in the day of and purchase them right here in the mansion, or they can go online for their convenience. We offer both, and we take credit cards online, of course, credit cards and cash in the museum once you get here.
Awesome. What do you hope that guests take away after the tour?
I will tell you, the best thing for me is when our guests compliment with things such as, it is so beautiful, it looks as though someone's still living here. It is exquisite. I always get a really good feeling when people say, it looks like someone's living here, it's alive with beautiful furnishings. That is what I love, because I'm like, that's what we strive for. We stage the home as though the family is still here. Families that lived here, that they're still here, they're carrying out their daily routine. So people will get a sense of the hard work and the preservation efforts. It's not easy. I mean, honestly, it's not. It's run on a tiny staff and some volunteers. We wouldn't be here without volunteers. I started as a volunteer. So we like it when people compliment our hard work. We know it's paid off.